right, so vanity presses and even kind of the scammy book promoters are preying on your dream of becoming a published author. They often try to rush you into publishing books with them, and some authors do fall prey to these companies that promise the moon, and you end up with an empty wallet. So when I say vanity presses, so if you don't have a literary agent and you're not publishing with one of the major publishing houses, if you paid any amount of money up front, if you paid any money, then you are publishing with a vanity press. If you publish traditionally, you get paid for your work traditionally. You don't have to pay somebody for the services that traditional publishing provides. A vanity press is making you pay for the services that would be included in traditional publishing with no cost to you. So, if you are being paid, traditional publishing. If you are paying, vanity press, okay? And that is the distinction. I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people say, well, it's traditionally published, but when I go and look at who published it, it's a vanity press, and they're basically using the same process that you would to self-publish, and then they're just charging you for it up front, which is all things that you can do yourself. They're just charging you exorbitant fees in order to do it. The red flags of vanity presses. Here we go. Again, like I said, upfront fees. You have to pay exorbitant fees for editing, cover design, formatting, and services that could be obtained for cheaper elsewhere or that you could do for yourself for free. Okay? They're usually overpriced services. Some of them are not horrible, but a lot of times on fees like editing and cover design, they are charging you way more than what an industry standard is. And so you end up paying a lot of money for services that you could do cheaper or for free. There is a lack of transparency typically. They want to rush you into a contract, and the terms of your service are sometimes very vague or difficult to understand. That's a warning sign. If you have any kind of questions, that's a warning sign. If it sounds too good to be true, that's a warning sign. Reputable publishers will be clear about their services and what they expect from you. There will be minimal marketing support. A lot of them will say that they will help you do your marketing, but it is extremely minimal. They're going to promise that they're going to help promote your book, but then once they have your money, you're not going to get much out of them. And sometimes you end up with vanity presses who it's basically a rights grab. So they can include clauses in their contracts that give them rights to your book. They can give certain controls to your book. It can get tied up in litigation, and then it can be difficult to end up, like if you don't like the service, to pull the book and go someplace else, to pull the book and self-publish. Regaining control of your copyright could end up being a legal battle. So some of the dangers of these vanity presses, okay? You have the financial loss, obviously, of paying for things that you could have otherwise gotten for free or much cheaper. Your loss of creative control. So they might control key aspects of your book depending on how your contract is written. And that can include maybe the cover design, the title. So the end product can end up not fitting your vision. So here you've paid them for a service and they've changed stuff, not to mention legal entanglements, as I said. So if they have the rights to that book, then if you decide you want to do something else or you want to pull it, or I've seen books that have gone out of print. So then all of a sudden you can't get copies of your book and you can't pull it to go someplace else to print it. So that happens too. You want to make sure if there's no escape clause. So if there's a contract, you want to read it and make sure there's an escape clause. What happens if I want to leave? How can I just take my work and go someplace else? If there's not a clear escape clause for you to get out of your contract, if you're not satisfied with it and they don't clearly identify that exit clause or escape clause in there, you're going to have a hell of a time getting the rights back to your work because you've just kind of signed it away. So good luck. A cautionary tale. I do know an author that published her first book with a Vanity press. Okay. And then when she finished the second one, they didn't want to pick up the second one. So they didn't want to do the second one for her. And then the first one basically went out of print. It was tied up in litigation. So she had to wait. It was a very long time. It was a year or two. And she would try to go to events and here you're selling book 2 and 3, but you don't have book 1. That's a rough sell. How can I sell you book 2 and 3 and not have book 1? What do you do with that? She eventually got it back, but it was a rather involved process to getting it back. So if you do happen to, let's say you watch this video and you're like, oh my God, I signed on with a Vanity press. What do I do now? First thing you're going to want to do is review your contract and make sure that, everything is covered and that you're not being taken advantage of. You might want to take that to an attorney and have them read through that contract. You can reach out to different advocacy groups and maybe they can offer some insight on what options that you may have available, and you may have to stay persistent. I know the one author, to get that first book back in her possession, she had to be pretty persistent and don't let them bully you around. But I would not recommend Vanity presses. It doesn't add any type of prestige to you. It doesn't make you any better than a self-published author. If somebody uploads to Kindle Direct Publishing, I can still hire a professional artist to do my cover. I can still hire an editor, and I don't have a Vanity press taking a chunk of the proceeds from that. I'm not paying them to facilitate that. If you can't do the formatting and you need to hire somebody for the formatting, that's fine. But just like you can hire somebody to do the editing, or you can do it yourself if you know how to do it. It's just, I would highly caution against Vanity presses. And like I said, if there's any money involved that you have to pay, it is a scam. Run away as fast as you can.